And welcome back to the Rock Shop Podcast. Joining me today is a very special guest, and his name is
Jerome Norman.
Hey Jerome. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I'm glad to get back into it. I'm able to get back into these, and I got a whole lot of cool guests coming on first time. So
Mhm.
awesome. What brings you on today?
Well, we I work with Dom, and I know that you had an interview with him. As we are emerging in the industry with different films and things that we're trying to create, I've been on the producing end. So, looking forward to share my story about my process through this, and hopefully, I can inspire other people that are independents and filmmakers trying to make it through these trying times, of course.
That's the big goal for the Rock Shop, getting all
Mhm.
these professionals on, sharing their story, and giving inspiration. It's so gloom and doom,
Yeah.
out there. But you could just do things, which is super cool. And
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, what have you done? What's your story?
Well, so I work in once again, my name is Jerome Norman. I work in the film industry. I work as a seasoned grip, but also emerging in the producing realm as well. I've done some projects that have been known out. So like Black Panther 2 is probably one of the most recognized ones. I've done a lot of Marvel, so Thunderbolts, Echo. Also, I've done pretty much all the studios, Apple, Fly Me to the Moon. I've done some Amazon, I've done Sony, work with pretty much all the bases of the studios. Also Tyler Perry as well. Then I've done some producing in, so I have about four four short films, one feature, one was Witness. Worked with Dom on that one. Cross the Blue Lines, we just premiered that at a showcase. That should have been back in June. Premiered that out there, so that's going out to some film festivals. Another one's Friend Zone. Um, that was my first project, and then I have a couple others that are in development right now. A couple of projects that are out in Africa, specifically Botswana and Nigeria, and then I have another one that's kind of in development that we're hoping to get out by the end of this year here in the U.S. So a lot of bits and pieces and moving parts. Witness that we did that can be found. I believe that was on Tubi, so that's on Tubi. And then the other projects we're looking to, they're short films, so we're looking to make some progress. So hopefully we can get a full feature out of them or a TV series. But so those are the things that are happening right now. Exciting stuff. Slow pace at times, but we're making strides and progress.
It's awesome. What's it like to produce something like from overseas? Like how challenging is that?
It has some difficulties for sure. One time zone for sure. Over there's a 6 hour difference, so sometimes you might be reaching out, and your morning 8 o'clock is their afternoon. Or if we need to get something done, we're looking at I don't know if we get it done at 4 o'clock, then that's midnight for them. So just structuring around that, just being mindful. It's a lot of communication also, and then sometimes it's just culturally there things are different, but there's a ways to navigate through that. But I would say the time zone and just navigating through the cultures are probably the most difficult parts.
Yeah, I have a friend. I met her at the Toronto Film Festival last year, and she actually is from Nigeria, but she lives in the North Atlanta suburbs. She's trying to break into Nollywood.
Okay, yeah.
So I haven't really talked to her in a while. I try to get her on a podcast, but she just had a new baby, so
Oh
you know,
yeah,
yeah, it's been taking up a lot of her time.
absolutely. I have
Um,
I have two kids myself, so well, three technically. Um,
nice.
and my stepdaughter, she's 19, or she just turned 20 actually.
Wow.
And then I have my daughter, she's 13. I keep throwing these numbers back. She just turned 13 in June. And my son is 7. He'll be 8 in November. So kids are very time consuming. So especially having a newborn, yeah, can be a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm only 27, so I'm not there yet, but
Take your time.
yeah. I live alone, so it's just a lot of watching B movies and
Mhm.
riding and staying up really late and
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you get to have the advantage and privilege because it's just you. So yeah, take advantage of it. Reach those goals, and then if we decide to have some kids later, some little rugrats running around.
Well, like I think probably the average age of the guests, like I don't know exactly, but they got to be around 40s or 50s. Um, that's something like I feel like most of my friends at this point, even my age, are parents already. Um, but that doesn't mean you can't still pursue passion, which
Right.
is still pretty cool.
Just got to navigate. It's really time management is the biggest thing. I feel like I kind of had a late start in regards to the producing realm. Um, so navigating through my time, my kids are very active, so they're in sports and activities, and so navigating through that. Also, just hey, what time do we have this day? Finding time in between. This needs to be done. You have deadlines, things of that nature. It's time management, which for me, I come from a kind of like a customer service, business administrative kind of background. So it helps me out a lot that
Yeah.
I have that structure behind me, and it allows me to be able to navigate through these different areas.
Nice. Nice. Um, how long have you been producing?
So it's been about going on 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
So I really kind of dabbled into it. I had a friend of mine that I worked on set with. She said she had a film that she had already written, but she wanted to write it a couple of episodes. So I said, well, I'm really looking at doing this producing realm. I don't know where film will go. I've never been just okay with just being at one position. I want to continue growing and blossoming. So learning all the aspects of film is something that I've always wanted to do. So as you work on these projects and you say, okay, well, I would like to do this differently, or why are they doing this? Very interested just from the mindset of other jobs I've worked. So when it came down to it, she had a project, she wrote a couple of more episodes in it, and that's Friend Zone. So she gave me the opportunity to produce on there, and it just all came together. Of course, there were always hiccups with the first one, but I learned a lot. We got an opportunity to see where it went. It won some festival awards and things. So now we're trying to, I believe she has about she has about 10 episodes now.
Nice.
We're hoping to at least build out and do a full episode and get some distribution and things of that nature,
It's
which
really
is
cool.
extremely hard right now, just where the world of the industry right now. But yeah, we're just making strides, bits and pieces at a time.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's helping you could kind of explain like, what you do as a producer, because I think a lot of people just have like misconceptions like, oh, you're just like rubber stamping things or making little
Yeah.
decisions. But like that's I did a little indie movie and that is like the hardest role really. At least I thought. I mean, it really kind of blindsided me.
You got to have just a little bit of crazy in you to do it. Um, I say it's managing chaos. That's if you can manage chaos and you can produce. But yeah, it's a lot that comes at you. I feel like and especially in the indie world, because you're kind of the one all be all. And in other bigger films, you have the opportunity to have like you know 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 producers, and they all have different roles that they will factor in. One's over distribution, one's over just a crew, one's different people are doing different things. So, but when indie is you're doing everything. You're the one all be all. So it's a lot that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've only ever done indie, so I've never really worked for a studio or anything. I don't even really work in film. It's just more of a, passion of mine.
Yeah,
But I write, so at least like there's a lot of control there. It's just kind of
true,
you.
true. Especially in the indie, like you have that IP. You have you created it, you're the creator of that content. So anything that deviates, you definitely have a lot of say so in it. When you get
Yeah.
to the bigger studios, they'll spend money, they'll try to buy you out and try to make it their own sometimes. So not they don't always make it, keep it 100% the IP of what it is. They have a narrative and things that they're trying to, approach or pitch. And so bigger studios sometimes that's what they look at. They look for the dollar signs. Like they need a return on investment.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, how much money they put in these things, and um, I mean, it's pretty high risk, high reward. But
Yeah.
you know, every now and then you just like make something a little cheaper, and it blows up. You know, that's
Yeah,
why like why horror's so lucrative.
absolutely. It's not as expensive to make. You got your slashers and you just need a location and that's kind of it. Like you don't
Yeah,
really have much. The most money you'll spend is like maybe special effects, makeup, um, but you don't have all the other expenses that'll come with it. Versus like the big Marvel movies where you have to have the CGI and VFX and all these different things that come with it that are very very pricey.
yeah, for sure. But you and Dom are like really respectable because I mean, you guys do like action movies.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
indie action's not really like it's not a thing so much of a thing because I mean that's so expensive and that's so like it stresses me out just thinking about the liability. And you even think about something like that movie Rust. You remember that?
Yeah.
With Alec Baldwin,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't even an indie thing, and what could go wrong in that sort of situation. And I thought for sure he was gonna like get thrown in jail because he was a producer.
Yeah, in those cases, and it makes it difficult because you want to say, the producers should be held accountable, but there are other pieces and there are other parts of that have to be held accountable for sure. Um, in those cases, I mean, I'm not a big fan of using real weapons. There are a lot of different things you could do, airsofts, you could do, they have the rubber guns. There's different ways you can make it real without it being real. Um, I'm not going to say that, I completely agree with how they handled things with having something real up there, but there you have to take accountability because it does come from the top.
Yeah.
So and it just trickles down. Now, if something's mixed in between, it's just like if there's a CEO and something falls in the crack somewhere in the middle, like they have to take the brunt of that regardless. So whoever meets it, but yeah, we do a lot of action. We have Dom has a quite a amazing set of prop items.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. It works in our favor, and then we have a good relationship with some stunt actors that works out. So it's really a lot of relationship building, especially when it comes to the producer and you have those relationships and people that want to expand out and show themselves.
Yeah, he was telling me about it. Like he sounded like Batman with all like his gadgets and like imported like props and stuff like that that looked real. And I was like, damn, dude. Um,
Yeah, it's pretty
like
impressive.
yeah, like he had the what's the Batman utility belt or something, just like a bat cave full of just props and everything. I was like, man, that's hardcore.
Yeah, yeah. It's I remember the first time I got a chance to meet up with him at his house and he showed me all these things. I was like, dude, like what are you gonna do with all this stuff? He was like, we're gonna shoot some films. Like
Yeah,
but he's very passionate about directing and getting into that realm and is very passionate about what he does, which is amazing. Some people just shoot, because it's just their creative juices. Like he has it. It's in his DNA. It's in his blood. Like that's what he was, made to do is to be a filmmaker. Um, so my thing is collaborating with him, and as a producer, we want to make sure we bring the film to life
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
He's
best
a
possible.
super cool guy.
Mhm.
But were you always like in film? Did you like go to school for it, or did you have Did you always work for the studios, or like how'd that start?
Well, I didn't work in film. I started off, for me, I've always worked in hospitality and customer
Hmm.
service. And then I got an opportunity to work in film, did a couple of music videos, things of that nature, and it really like gained my interest. So from there, moving into the film industry, you know, you get engulfed in it. Like you're working on set, and next thing you know, you're on a show for 5 months, and then you're like, man, like I'm really enjoying this experience. And once you get in there, then it's like, how can you expand on it? For me, I've always elevated and grown in every position I've been in. So, like, what's next after, you know, gripping, things of that nature? So, I've done a couple of key grip jobs on some indie films, and those are pretty cool. But I just wanted more. I wanted more, and I wanted to understand the industry a little bit more from above the line approach. And then that's what intrigued me with the producer route.
Yeah, dude, the Hollywood bug is so real. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
it's intense.
once you get into it, and if you're like, you know, if you're like really passionate or if you're
Yeah,
really into it, dude, and then you just like it just engulfs you.
yeah. And it's amazing group of people, talented people in the Hollywood realm, and you meet so many people that worked on different projects and things you watched on TV, and you're like, well, what really happened here, and what's going on here? Was this real? Was this not? Um, and the camaraderie and the people that are industry are amazing. Hardworking people. Um, I mean, very much boots to the ground. Like you won't find we look at the industry as in its own place. Like it's almost like some people go into the military and they're like, oh well, I'm back in the civilian world. That's how people in the film industry look at it. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, we gotta go to the civilian world now. Like things are slow. We gotta go to work. Like, but it's just different. It's different.
Well, it's
Um,
so social, which I love. You know, we have some,
very,
a little bit of overlap because I used to work retail, and now I just past few months started working in just a little marketing office job, which has been pretty nice. Um, but with film, like I used to be really shy, and I was always really um, deterred from film just because it's about who
yeah,
and when you're like a 16-year-old in high school, like you don't know anyone. Um,
yeah,
and I guess you don't realize like that can change. Um, but I like that about uh like work in customer service was
mm,
you just met all these people, especially in film. Like you're really encouraged to make friends, and
yeah,
a lot of people are friendly. Like like not everyone you meet is gonna want to be your friend, but the vast majority of people I've met, and I keep meeting new people, they're so cool.
yeah.
Um, and it's really neat, just meeting people who are just like as into it as you are.
Mm.
That's super rewarding to me.
And I think also you have so many people doing different departments and to collectively work together to produce the film, that camaraderie, that level of like you need each department. um I love it, definitely enjoy it. You can't shoot anything without a camera team.
Yeah.
You need sound. If you need to shape the light, you need grip and electric, and costumes, you have to have them, props. Like everybody has a part to play from beginning to end, and to complete these films. So yeah, I have a deep appreciation for everybody that works in the film industry because it's not easy. We all come together to bring this to light. So I love it. I definitely enjoy it.
Well, I asked this question to Dom, and now I'm curious for your answer. Why action? Because like it feels like a comedy would be a lot cheaper and easier, or even horror has a little action, and you could do that so cheap. But like, wh why action? What's that so alluring to you?
Well, for working with Dom, I mean, his for me as a producer, I'm open to all of it. I do like action. I'm an action person, so I'm kind of like that Marvel, DC. Like I want to see some things happening. Um, and I'm just a kind of an action person in general. And then me and Dom just kind of just collaborated. Just we just kind of things just happen sometimes organically, and those are the best times. And he wrote us. We were writing the script, and I overlooked at it. We tweaked a couple of things here. Well, gave a couple of suggestions, but it's still really his. But a couple of suggestions, and we said, well, he's like, I have equipment. Let's shoot it. I was like, action one? What do you have? So Dom is him prepping with all his props and all the things. It makes it a lot easier. Of course, action is a lot harder because you have your, VFX and things of that nature. But I'm an action person. I'm definitely an action person. It's something I'm John Wick, all of those. I want to see it all happen. I'm not a big fan of people dying, but it looks good on TV, right?
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite action movie or an action influence?
I think right now, like the John Wick's kind of our realm. We want to see. I mean, it's your storytell kind of thing. You have your main character. He comes out, guns blazing, making things happen. Um, I would like a little bit more conversation, but that's kind of in my wheelhouse right now for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen the new John Wick, but I like all of them.
All of them.
It's really cool because it wasn't like I don't think it was even a huge hit when it came out, but people liked it. But now like I'm seeing Normal 2 tonight, and like that is such like a John Wick-esque movie. And it's so weird. Like there's so many movies like Atomic Blonde. Um, well, I was gonna say Ballerina, but that's a spin-off. I did not see that.
I haven't seen that yet.
But there's so many movies that are just like they're trying to be John Wick, and I think that's pretty
Yeah,
neat because like the first one was just so stylish and so different, so cool. It wasn't like, well, it was pretty big budget, but it didn't seem that way.
yeah. I mean, you have the other one like Equalizer. You have those. Those are all pretty cool, but John Wick is kind of just it's his own kind of ordeal. Not a lot of talking. It's just your stunts and your act, like your stunts and then your guns. Like that's what they use. But I do see a lot of people trying to go in that direction because action is big right now. Um,
Yeah.
as the Marvels and the DC kind of scale back a little bit, it leaves room for other actions. You see a little bit more horror that's coming back a little bit. They kind of had a down period. Uh, After COVID, it was like I think there was enough drama films or something of that nature to fill everybody's household, but they're kind of in their restructuring period right now.
I was thinking about what my answer would be, and I was thinking like Mad Max Fury Road, but there's just not enough story in that. It's kind of like the John Wick issue.
Mad Max is pretty cool. It's that bigger budget that you need, to
Yeah.
produce or make it what you need. Where John Wick would probably be a little bit, in my opinion, be a little bit more, be less on the budget.
Yeah, I think probably Terminator 2, just to be old school. I think that's like
That's
that was
all time
peak.
classic.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, man. Like
all time classic.
so many cool scenes and like it's just one of those things too. Like I saw when I was probably like 15 or 16 and like that just blows your mind.
Yeah,
Um so good.
it's a great one.
And the story is so good and the script and the special effects, dude, when the uh, T1000 or whatever like turns into liquid and like morphs through that gate. It's like, dude,
Yeah, it's awesome. I love Terminator 2. I'm really a fan of all of them, but yes, Terminator 2 is probably the all time classic. Um, just seeing it, it's just different. Um, you go from kind of anti-hero to hero. It's exactly what Arnold was. So yeah, all time classic. Love Terminator 2.
man, Arnie was so good, and I think he
Played
kind
his
of
role to the
acts.
T.
Was that?
So he played his role to the T.
Yeah, I think he kind of acts here and there, but not really. But man, what a run that guy had.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, he's still doing his thing. I think what he has, what is that film that he has now? Um,
It's a Netflix thing, right?
yeah, Fubar. Yeah, Fubar.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's different. I think he's taking a step back for sure. But I mean, it's something that he's doing. Him and then Sylvester, they have their thing. So I kind of Sylvester. I do like sports, boxing movies. Like I'm all time Rocky fan. Yeah, so with Sylvester and him, so Tulsa King is also awesome, but I'm definitely a big sports movie kind of guy. So when it came out with like Rocky, I watched all the Rockies, loved them all. They're they're amazing, and I don't know. I like sports stuff.
I'm going to TIFF this year. I'm so excited. It's not like a crazy lineup or anything, but I do definitely want to see the Smashing Machine. Have you
Mm-mm,
heard of that?
mm-mm.
It's a Benny Safdie movie. He did Uncut Gems and all that, but starring
Okay.
The Rock and the I'm gonna look it up who
That
The
where he's
Rock's.
the MMA fighter,
Yeah, but I think his name's Mark something.
Mark.
I'm gonna look it up because I'm not really a big like boxing fan, but Mark Kerr.
Mark, yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
remember him. I used to watch UFC when they kind of first started coming out. I was still a kid, but I remember him fighting. So I was very intrigued when when The Rock said he was going to take that role. I was like, okay, The Rock's going from wrestling to MMA. It's very interesting.
Well, yeah, that's a really good point, but I'm really glad he is because like, you could compare him to Arnie, but Arnold just had like he wasn't a great actor, but he had more range. Like I like The Rock, but I feel like he doesn't try as much. He doesn't really try for something a little more dramatic. I think comedically he's a pretty good actor, but it's just I feel like um for most of his films it's just kind of the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when you work those films, you get pretty much stereotyped. And when you're a draw and you make the money that you make and you can bring to the table, I mean, it's kind of like the other side. Like, what's the point of doing anything different? I think he definitely has the capabilities. He expanded out when he started working with Kevin Hart, and he started trying to, bring some little bit more comedic route to it. I think naturally he's a funny person. I've seen him, with wrestling things, but I would love to see him in more, in different things. And maybe we'll have the opportunity to see that, especially with kind of where the industry is at right now.
I'll definitely text you like if I see the move, if I'm able to see it,
Yeah.
because ticketing starts in a few days. So hopefully, because that's the world premiere. Um, I haven't seen Uncut Gems. I haven't seen the only Safdie thing I've seen was Oppenheimer, but he was an actor in that. He didn't direct.
Mm-hmm.
Uncut Gems. I heard that's just like the most stressful movie ever.
Really?
Like, yeah, have you seen it?
Mm-mm, I haven't seen it.
Um, I don't know. Like that's just what I keep hearing is like, dude, if you watch that, you're just gonna feel like you're gonna have a heart attack. Like you're just gonna be so stressed. And I keep hearing that. So that's why I've never seen it.
Yeah, I would
Um,
love to watch it.
but I like Adam Sandler and like when he does dramatic stuff, I mean, that's great. Like Punch Drunk Love or that one.
Adam Sandler is probably one of the most underrated actors. He's definitely someone, in my opinion, that definitely has range,
Yeah, I agree.
but I also feel very underrated. But I mean, his realm is that comedic outlet as well. So it's hard when you kind of go into that realm of what works best for you. Um, I've seen people that to me like Robert Downing Jr. Like he's amazing at what he does as far as in the Marvel world, and then when he gets outside of that, they have these different struggles. It's like, well, what's the difference? I'm not 100% sure. I think he's a great actor in the other realm. So I don't know. It's interesting when you get outside of their typical niche, like where they're at and where they stand.
I'm curious, who's like the coolest person you've ever worked with, and who's someone like this would be like a dream person to work with?
The coolest person, probably Channing Tatum's pretty cool.
Ooh, he has a TIFF movie, Roof Man. I'm trying to see that.
Channing Tatum, like organically, he's just who he is on screen. Sometimes, like he's like that off screen. Like he's just very
Nice.
personable. He talks to the crew. He talks to everybody. Um, he was pretty awesome. That's when I worked on Fly Me to the Moon. Um, Scarlett's pretty cool. She was pretty cool as well. Um, I don't know. I've like if I was to work with anybody, it would probably be Ryan Coogler. When I did Black Panther 2, Ryan Coogler was, I mean, he's director, of course. He is just, we see people on a pedestal. He does not put himself there. He's just a human, just like everybody else. Humble, easy to talk to, an amazing human being. If I was ever to produce anything, I would love the opportunity to just work with him and see how his brain works because he's very talented and just a great person, human. We worked on Black Panther 2, and it was right after, um, it was a little after Chadwick had passed away, which was, detrimental. And, you can tell he carried it on his heart every day. We wanted to, try to find a way to make the most out of the film because a lot had to change. And a lot of people see it and they're like, oh, it wasn't the same. Well, it wasn't the same as the first one because a lot of things changed. There were a couple of days where they had to rewrite on set, and we're waiting because they're making changes. There's a lot of different changes, a lot of adversity that was experienced with that film. So that one's kind of close to my heart, and it showed a lot from him as a director, also being the leader of that crew while experiencing everything that he experienced, losing somebody he was close to, very close to. Yeah, he's just a really, really good dude. Would love the opportunity to work with him.
So I know a guy, and not super well or anything, but we kind of keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he he's like trying to get really big in entertainment, and he works for local government, and he's super well connected, but I don't know the whole story, but I believe he lobbied Warner Brothers to do that special screening for Sinners, where the in the town the movie's based off of. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't know
because
that.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen Sinners. I've been really slacking with movies this year. I've barely seen
Have you seen
anything.
it?
I have not. It was always like I was going to see it, and then someone would come up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wasn't doing so great health wise, unfortunately.
Understood.
So I just couldn't really go to theater too much for a while. But no, now it's on Max, and I got to see it.
Yes, yes, it's definitely. I mean, I've seen it a few times. Um, well made. It's just a well made film. You can see the passion that he had in that. The script was well written. It's just a really good movie. The lighting on there is great. Um, it has a very organic look and stuff to it. So definitely a good movie to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to see it. All my friends are just raving, but yeah, he brought the film, and obviously there were other people involved, but they had the screening in that town, and Ryan was there, and they did like a Q&A, which is pretty neat.
Mhm.
I don't know who else was there. I know Ryan was there because it was interesting. Because he was asked like, "Well, why didn't you film it here?" And he had just interesting like answers on like the logistics of filmmaking, and the economics. Because I don't know where they filmed it. Did they film that in Georgia?
No, they filmed it in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yep, yep. I was because I was wondering when it came out, I was like, oh, where did they film it at? But they filmed it in Louisiana. They wanted that organic, feel and look to it. So they went there.
Yeah, my mom's from Louisiana.
Mm.
So I should really see it then. I was born in Covington, Louisiana. So
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, so it's a special place to me.
Little Creole action there.
I'm not really Cajun.
Cajun, well, Cajun, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, that's cool, man. Yeah, Ryan's such a super cool guy, and just
Mm.
seeing, man, was Fruitvale Station 10 years ago? No, 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 no. That was 2013. Creed was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
That's wild.
Yeah, Creed was a while ago. And his relationship with Michael B. Jordan is pretty amazing. Like they definitely work together. And Michael B. He's growing as a director as well. Did some scenes in there. Well, he did Creed 3.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did see it.
I heard
Uh,
that was a really fun one.
it was very different. Um, I think there could have been a couple of things tweaked, but for Michael B to have the opportunity to direct and act, which I think is a difficult thing to do overall anyway, for you to be able to produce it and still establish yourself as a main actor, that's pretty incredible. Pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
it's very Scorsese and De Niro, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is cool. And that's another thing I love about just film is like, you find your community and you find your people and you just keep working with it. Just harkens back to, when you were a kid with a camcorder and you're just running around in the neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
making, movies with your buddies.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that loyalty.
yeah, and I think them as a team, I think Sinners really showed their range. They can do a little bit more. I mean, you get stuck kind of in that Marvel world, and you get you know typecasted. Sinners gave them opportunity to show themselves a little bit outside of that and show what they can do. So makes it more valuable. They're definitely they're kind of like a pinnacle in the industry right now.
Yeah. I'd love to work with James Gunn. He just seems like the coolest guy.
It seems and I heard he's pretty cool. A couple of people that worked on Superman, and they say it was pretty cool. They say it was pretty cool. So that'll be something that'll be awesome.
I don't know, he just feels like so unpretentious. Like, he'll just do superhero movies because he likes it.
Yeah.
He'll do Scooby-Doo and he'll do it again. Um, he used to even write like for video games and like just all kinds of stuff. And I think that's really fun that even though he's a big deal now, like he had his kind of roots in like underground movies, I guess you could call them like grindhouse movies, but he's definitely like progressed through that. I know some directors, well, not personally, but some famous directors who they kind of have that like grindhouse mentality, but like it's not refined.
Yeah.
Um, it's not really like an art form. It's just kind of grungy, and that's cool too. But James has a little artistic touch. It
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of like a Tarantino.
Yeah. His touch is very different. Um, he knows how to bring the emotions out of things as well. It's not just, a film, like he has intent behind it. Some people film and forget about like the human aspect of things, and he's thinking about all of that in collection and how it's supposed to operate within a film. His directing style, I really like it. I really like it, and he always puts his own little touch on everything. So definitely a hell of a talent when it comes to being a director.
Yeah, just Suicide Squad versus the Suicide Squad. I mean, that was night and day.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
the podcast started when the Suicide Squad came out, and it's so funny. I had a guest I knew from college, and I just graduated, and I was like, "Well, what should we talk about?" And she's like, "Well, I just saw like Suicide Squad. We could watch that." And it just came out. I was like, "Yeah, sure." She's like, "Yeah, I love that movie." So we get on Zoom, we start recording. I was like, "Yeah, The Suicide Squad is so good. Like man, I loved like John Cena and Idris Elba. And she's like, oh no, I was talking about I love Suicide Squad with Will Smith.
Yeah.
I was like, so this is awkward. And she hated the gun one, and she loved like the old one, and I hate the old one and love the new one. So
I mean, I'm a fan of the old one, the original one. Um, it's interesting. The other one wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad. The Suicide Squad with James Gunn. It wasn't bad, but I am a fan of the original one.
really, I've softened. Like I don't know, like I just didn't like anything DC was coming out with. I'm a big comic book fan, and like
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, like that first one, dude, I was not really into it.
I just felt like they were like I'm like, were y'all even trying? What are you trying to come out with? But I
Wait, do
think
you?
with
Oh,
DC,
sorry, go ahead.
I was saying with DC when they were first, starting up, and I think the matchup that they had, or they're to me, I would say they were just trying to match with Marvel and what they're doing. Well, Marvel was his own entity; they've already established themselves. They started with Iron Man and just worked their way through, and it was like DC was like, okay, we're just going to throw everything at them. Like we want to make that same amount of money. Where I feel like they could have did a lot more where if they just would have laid a foundation and built it from there. But maybe that's what they're trying to do now. I don't know. It's very interesting kind of where they are in the DC world. Like you got Batman, but it's like, do you want to have another Batman? You want to tell the story again? Like, or you got Superman. So it's interesting.
Superman was probably my favorite movie of the year, and then I saw Naked Gun. Naked Gun was so good. Have you seen that
Really,
yet? Yeah,
I
dude.
haven't seen. I hadn't seen Superman yet, so I have to find a way to see that. And I hadn't seen Naked Gun. I have a couple people that I know worked on it. They said it was really fun to work on, very funny. So I'm looking forward to taking a look at that one.
Yeah, I love the original with Leslie Nielsen, so good, but I didn't think this new one would be very good, but reviews were so great and I saw it and that was right when I started like feeling better. Like right when I was like it wasn't like a contagious sick, it was like a
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Um I was still, a little in pain, but dude, I tell you that movie is it's just so good. It's so funny. Like it just cheers you up.
that's
And
awesome.
I think like that's just what we need. Like there's not enough like good comedies out anymore. And like I
Um,
guess what does come out is like streaming. Like Happy Gilmore 2 would have like dominated the box office. People would have shown up for that.
I think that's the funny part about the industry right now. The box office is kind of it's not as strong as it used to be because streaming is so heavy.
Yeah.
So the things that we typically want to see on TV or not on TV, but we'll say in theaters aren't doing as strong. Um, your big budget ones are because they have enough marketing material and money to help push those out, but your other projects are struggling. Like even with Thunderbolts coming out, you know, it didn't do very well, even though it's a Marvel movie. I would say
Yeah.
it did fine. It'll do fine on streaming. I'm pretty sure many people watch it, but if you're not those bigger budgets, it's a little bit hard right now. Even like Ballerina, like that came out, but it's not John Wick. John Wick's kind of established, so it's very interesting when it comes to your theater experience. A lot of people's, after COVID, their experience became the couch experience versus, sitting in theater.
On the flip side, I'm curious about your take on this, but um I think we're going to see seriously the end of the studio system because to your point, they can't just wing it anymore. They can't just make a movie. They can't just make a Thunderbolts. I liked Thunderbolts and people liked Thunderbolts. At least it was different. At least Fantastic Four, it was a little different, but you can't make that anymore. Um, I think with Sinners being such a huge hit and like Superman being a bigger hit than any Marvel movie this year, um, there's true passion behind it. There's true like auteurism. Um, and I think that's what a lot of people were just demanding. But they're like, a lot of people were like, well, we'll just see this IP movie. With Sinners, like, I think like Coogler is big enough that he's his own brand now. But I think like the studio obviously needs to back it, but the people you like just are yearning for like real art and like genuine authentic voices and you even look at some like the new Pixar movie Elio. um Originally it was like a movie that was really auteur driven, personal to the director, and the studio meddled with it. And word of mouth was so bad where you'd think like, well, maybe if there's a little more passion behind it and there's a little more like you let the director cook, maybe it would have been a bigger hit. And I think that's what we're seeing now is like for a movie to succeed in the box office now, like, yeah, you could get lucky, but I think it's so much more beneficial to invest in the director and to back their creative vision.
So to speak on that, um, and I see exactly what I think the Marvels and the DC, they're always going to be, at the helm of that. You got your Mortal Kombat's, and they're always going to have those projects. They have the backing of, I wouldn't say infinite amount of money, but they have the backing of the finances to support it. They're going to tell stories forever. But for everybody else, I do think there's a change. There's a strong yearning for like real films. I think during COVID and after COVID, there was that heightened moment to where they can just put out whatever they wanted to put out. Now there's kind of a restructuring in Hollywood where you don't have the money to spare. The industry is slowed down tremendously, in my opinion. Um, and they just they don't have the same amount of money. A lot of companies are merging. There were too many studios at one point. I mean, but Paramount just made their big move with Skydance. Before they did Skydance, they had majority stake in BET. So there's a lot of moving pieces also with companies merging or studios merging. So you have that bit, and then also just a restructuring of guard. I think the industry for sure will make it'll boom again. I just think that it'll have a different intention. You can't just put out quantity anymore. Yeah, people want quality. They want quality things to actually like look at. They can go back and tell the stories. Like we when I was younger, that's what films were. Like, let's go and look at this movie and we can talk about it for the next 3 or 4 months. We don't have that as much anymore. So I think that's kind of that restructuring in the industry right now. And once that happens, and it also allows a lot of independent filmmakers to do their part. So you don't have the same directors that are directing these things. You have new up and coming directors that are coming in, creating opportunities for themselves. So it's definitely it's open season in my opinion right now for a lot of people. Um, once studios kind of get settled in, I think you'll see more and more films that are coming out from either independent filmmakers or someone who actually kind of negotiated a deal, from the films that they designed. So a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening. It's a lot of moving, shaking up in Hollywood.
Yeah, the economics of film is just so fascinating to me in particular. Like you see something like 2019 in film, and I think Disney had like 9 movies that crossed $1 billion or more because that was the end game year. Well, that was I'd probably even still name them because it was so wild. It was Endgame, the new Spider-Man, which was technically like co-production with Sony,
Right.
Captain Marvel. There was a Star Wars Episode 9 that year.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen 2, that's 5. 6 would be um, Toy Story 4, and then maybe there. I don't know. I don't know. The point, I think every month they were like dropping another billion
Yeah, they
dollar
were.
making movie, you know. But and that was one studio because in that you had Joker that year,
Yeah.
already across a billion, and that was wild. And now like that also that was Disney Plus dropped in like November 2019, I think.
Hmm.
Um, I was in college at the time. I uh I was in like a round table with a higher up at Disney. Like she was like a VP.
Oh wow.
And um this was probably October. This was Halloween 2019. Like, yeah, I do remember that. And I just had all these questions. Barely anyone could like get inside, but I just happened to get the sign up email and like it was me and like five other people. And I was just nerding out with the others, like, man, Disney Plus is going to be a huge deal. And they're like, and they were just like other business students, and they're just like, we don't know what that is, buddy. Like, that's probably going to flop. Like, that's not going to be Netflix. And that was such a weird, interesting roundtable too, because she just that was when the Fox buyout happened, like a few months later, and hearing from the inside, like what was going on with that, and having Disney having to release like all these movies that Fox was going to release, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you just never know what they're gonna do in the industry. We'll find out a little too late when they've already made the move, but they're strategizing 6 months before we even know. You know, a lot of films are already slated, but I mean, I felt like the necessary move that Disney needed to do was to probably buy out Fox so they can build what they have now. You know, with the whole thing with you got Doomsday coming, you got Secret Wars, like to have all these characters and to blow it up to where it needs to be, like you have to make you have to make these jumps. So to have big opportunities, you got to take big leaps, and they took that. And you get Disney Plus, and they have Hulu. It's taking over the game. ESPN, like they're a little bit, they're a little bit everywhere, a little bit everywhere.
All these mergers, man, it's so wild. Like Paramount, Skydance. I don't really get that one. Like Skydance, I'd have to see everything they've made. I'm not even super familiar with that. I've
I'm
seen their
not
logo.
I'm not as familiar with Skydance. It did seem like a big deal. I believe with Paramount, they're paired with CBS. So
Yes, and Viacom.
yeah, so that's interesting. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of mergers, but it makes sense though. Like, what's the point of having so many different studios? You just jump around town, and right now it's not really feasible unless you.
Warner. Oh, sorry, go ahead. You just cut out there. I thought you were done talking.
Oh, I was just saying it's not really feasible unless you can, as a company, you can survive.
Yeah, the Warners just pass around like who owns the brothers. That's what's crazy because it was what was it? It was AT&T, and then no, it's Time Warner, then AT&T, and then that only lasted 2 years, and now it's well, it was they merged with Discovery, but I think they split again, and now they're separate companies, one for TV, one for film.
Oh, really?
That's what happened. I don't really know if it's an umbrella situation, but they're having a good year though. Weapons and Minecraft movie and
Hmm.
Superman.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you have to take, like I said, you have to take some leaps at some point, and I think also they're taking a lot of the films. I'm trying to think of the words, like remakes. They have a lot of remakes, and it's taking some of the films that are already out there. Like Lilo and Stitch too. Like they taken that and like you said, Minecrafts. But then they're also doing a lot of remake. I think they're going to do Mummy 4. So they're taking some of the old genre, old stuff and bringing it back to life. Because those are things that worked. And I don't see the creative approaches. They're taking less. to me, and this is where the indie film happens, they're taking less of the creative approach because it's not sure and guaranteed in finances.
Yeah.
So this is where I call it this is the indie world, the creator era. That's what I've always tell people. This is the creators era. Those that are creative and want to put something out there that's not kind of like your ordinary, like this is where you blossom. And if you find a studio or somebody that's behind you and that can back it, where you can make it, you'll go a long way. You'll go a long way because they're not telling the same stories anymore. They're just telling remakes of stories, and they're using. I think they're going to do like a Smash Brothers movie. Super Smash Brothers movie or something like that. I'm like, y'all are just take the video games. Oh, that was a hit. We're going to take that because we know we'll get 100 mil off of that.
Yeah.
This is interesting, but this is the creators area. This is the era for those filmmakers to go out there and create. You can create and make it your own, and somebody will listen. Somebody will watch.
And that's what's wild too is you bring up Disney and their live action remakes. I knew it was like 8 or 9 movies from 2019 Disney released that made like a billion plus. And that
Mhm.
was Aladdin and Lion King were those years too. So they
Yeah,
made over $1 billion, and like that's what's kind of crazy is like some will make like so much money and it's not really even like in the cultural conversation anymore.
yeah.
Like I saw them and I completely forgot about them, you know.
Mhm.
Uh man. Um Yeah, I don't know. Like I did see Weapons. I try to see like indie movies whenever I can. Weapons was a little too scary for me.
Yeah, I've heard about weapons, but have not watched it. Is it? It's a scary one in the horror genre.
Not much. It was so weird, but not much like scares me. Like I'll see Child's Play and I won't even flinch. Um, but this one, I saw Barbarian, his previous film, but that wasn't really scary. But this had me like tense. But I think that goes to show just how good of a film it was, you know. And like, nothing really gets past me but that one, you know.
Yeah.
So good. But if you're scared of like scary movies, dude, I don't know. Because it had me stressed. It wasn't even just like scary. I was just like straight up uncomfortable in the theater.
Mm. I mean, that's good if they're able to draw that kind of emotion out. It's pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's about closing time for the rock shop. Jerome, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything to plug for the audience? Where can they find you?
Well, definitely it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on, Ryan. Let's see here. I just have a couple of projects. Like I said, there are a couple in Africa. Right now. Everything's kind of in that pending stage. So hopefully we'll have something in development relatively soon. But you can also check out Witness, which is out on Tubi. Definitely check that out. And then we'll just look for some other projects. If you want to find me, you can find me on IG, and that is in Rome We Trust 13. Very easy. And then if you want to also follow our other projects, Pure Luxury Films on Instagram as well. That's another one where you can kind of see our up and coming. That's me and Don will work on projects. So definitely follow us. You'll see what we have coming up next. We're starting the annual showcase. It's called A Night in Cinema. We did our showcase back in June. We're going to do another one next year. So we're prepping for that. So definitely find us on IG. We'd love to have you follow us on our journey, and we appreciate you watching.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. And until next time, see ya.